channel as a Texas fan, hook 'em. It is my duty and my responsibility to take care of all the myths that people think about this Texas football program, what people think about Texas football fans. And so what I did is I scoured the internet, I scoured YouTube, and I actually listened to the way that people talk about Texas, and I decided to come up with a list of a couple of things that I hear people talk about, and I am going to dispel the myths for the University of Texas program. But I think this is kind of a cool way to kind of be like, hey, I know that that's what you think about Texas, but let me tell you why what you think is wrong. And so that is what I'm going to do in this video. So if you are here to hear me dispel the myths about the University of Texas, you're in the right spot. I'm going to get onto the other side of this video, and I am going to dispel some things that you might think you know, or that you might think about Texas fans that are actually probably not entirely true. So let me get into the other side of this video. There are 7 myths that I am going to dispel today. Before I get started, don't forget to hit that like button and we will get into this video. It is very awkward that I am standing, but if you saw my February challenge, you will know that this is something new that I'm going to try out and see how I like it. Anyways, let me get on to those myths. Myth number 1 is we don't know how much money helps us. That is 100% false. We are well aware of how much money we have. We are well aware that that helps us get recruits. We are well aware of what it means to line up Lamborghinis for college students to come and visit us. We are well aware that we have money. We are well aware that we have privilege, and we have no problem with that privilege. So the fact that you think that we don't have a money privilege is absolutely positively false. We're very much aware of our privileges, and we are very much okay using those privileges. Myth number 2, that we get upset when people do horns down. Actually, that is false. We love when people do horns down. I love seeing people sell merch with horns down on it. It actually brings me so much joy when somebody thinks that I care about a horns down thing. Here's the thing. If you're having to use my thing as a thing that you think is going to go against me, or if you're selling merch on behalf of my team by using my team's logo, I don't have a problem with that. I love it when people commit to certain teams and they have horns down in their video, in their like little thing. And I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for validating us. We live in your minds rent-free, and we actually love it. We don't care about horns down. We welcome horns down. Myth number 3, that Texas is so irrelevant, that Texas is this. Texas is actually not irrelevant. Go look at the data that is supporting how well we did in 2024. Go look at the highly watched games. Go look at how many people tuned in to either hate watch or to watch the University of Texas. The truth of the matter is, when Texas is good at football, it is good for college football. Whether or not you like Texas or not is not really my problem. The numbers don't lie. People are tuning in and watching us. You might want to think that we're irrelevant because it helps make your team seem relevant, but we're not irrelevant. People want to see Texas be good. People want to see Texas at the top, and they are watching in that regard. The other thing is, I just want to call out here, because a lot of people are like, Texas got lucky with their SEC schedule. Texas got lucky. Maybe we did. But what you don't realize is we have all of our rivals on our schedule. So, okay, you think we have an easier schedule? Cool. I'm not here to say that we don't have an easier schedule. But what you aren't paying attention to is Texas has a rival with Arkansas. Texas has a rival with Texas A&M. Texas also has a rival with Oklahoma. Those 3 teams are on our schedule. We have 3 very deep-rooted rivalry games on our schedule. You know what that brings in? That brings in viewership, that brings in dollars, and that brings in things. So don't be mad at Texas because we have more rivals than you do. It just is what it is. Another myth is we don't know that we've been bad for 10 years. 10 plus years, if I want to be honest. We absolutely positively know that we have been bad for 10 plus years. We absolutely positively know Steve Sarkisian's past record. That is why I need to start calling him Coach Sark. I don't know why I call him Steve Sarkisian, but that's a whole different conversation for a different day. We are well aware of where we have been for the past 10 plus years. We are well aware that we weren't good. We are well aware of Coach Sark's record. We are well aware of all of those things. However, However, what's funny to me is we all think that a way to like knock Texas down is to remind them where they've been. Spoiler alert, we are well aware that we used to be bad. We are well aware where we have been. So you bringing it up doesn't help us. The fact of the matter is, though, right now we're good. Right now we have Arch Manning. Right now people are wondering to see what Texas has going on. That is just the facts. So I don't have to be reminded of every year we weren't good. I remember those years. That is also why we celebrate so proudly now that we don't have those problems. We don't have those problems of not getting people drafted. We don't have those problems of not having good recruiting classes. We don't have those problems of worried about some of those things because we're not there anymore. So the myth that we don't know that we were bad for 10 years is absolutely false. We celebrate now because we remember how bad we were 10 plus years ago. Another myth is that Texas gets all the calls. If we got all the calls, Ohio State would have had more holding calls against them because we all saw number 70 holding Colin Simmons in the semifinals. Also, Ohio State would have gotten a lot more pass interference penalties like they did against Notre Dame. We can also take time to talk about how many times this Texas defensive line was getting held all year. We can also talk about the pass interference calls that we didn't get all year, but that's okay. I'm not here to complain about those calls. I'm just here to tell you, just because you can remember the calls that went our way doesn't mean that there weren't calls that did not go our way. You're so fixated on the calls that we did get that you're not paying attention to the calls that we didn't get. Go look and go watch that Texas and Ohio State football game. Go tell me that some of those calls, Texas got screwed out of those calls. If you're honest with yourself, you can admit that. So does Texas get all the calls? Absolutely, positively not. Is it fair and balanced? Maybe. I happen to think officiating sucks. That is my opinion. But Texas is definitely not getting all the calls. And if you were honest with yourself, you would know that. So that is another myth that you try to sell yourself when you try to act like the University of Texas is not good at football. Good luck with that one. The next myth is that we think Arch Manning is going to go undefeated. We absolutely positively do not think Arch Manning is going to go undefeated. Do we want Arch to go undefeated? Absolutely, we want Arch Manning to go undefeated. But we're not sitting here acting like Arch Manning is going to come in and be perfect. We're not acting like Arch Manning is going to come in here and not have any challenges. We're not acting like our team is a perfect team. That myth is false. We are expecting Arch Manning to come in and to do what he needs to do. We are expecting it to take time. We are expecting him to work through some things. We're expecting him to figure it out. Absolutely. However, I haven't heard a single Texas fan say Texas is going to win the national championship next year. And I haven't heard a single Texas fan say Texas is going to win the SEC championship next year. That is your own insecurity because you know Texas is back. You know Texas is good. And you know Texas has a top recruiting class. And you are concerned that what if Arch Manning does come in and he is great? What if Arch Manning is great? That is a you problem. That is not a Texas fan problem. So we absolutely do not believe Arch Manning is perfect. And I actually have only heard Texas fans saying, why do they have Arch ranked so high on some of these things? Why are they giving Arch all of these things? We as Texas fans, at least the ones that I listen to and the ones that I talk to, we know what's up with Arch Manning. We know it's going to take time. You're just trying to convince yourself that we don't know that it's going to take time. The last one here, and I want you to listen very carefully. We are an SEC team. In 2021, Texas announced they were going to go to the SEC. And since 2021, Coach Sark has been building this Texas team to be an SEC team. What does that mean? We have gotten big humans. We have gotten big bodies up front. We have focused on the line of scrimmage, and we have focused on making sure that we have good running backs because that is what the SEC does. If you go look at the Texas roster and the Texas measurables and the Texas athletes that are now coming into this Texas football program, you will see that Texas is specifically recruiting SEC style of players. Texas and Coach Sark have been on record as saying when he came in 2021, we didn't even have enough bodies to do certain things. When he came in 2021, there's a lot of things he had to do to transition us into being an SEC caliber team, and that is who we are now. Now, I know some of you want to look at the Arizona State game and you want to say, yeah, but Arizona State could compete. Just because you're in the SEC doesn't mean other teams aren't going to compete. What you're not going to do is act like Texas is not an SEC team and act like Texas Texas has not been building to be an SEC team since 2021. Now, we can have a conversation on if you think Texas is good. We can have a conversation on all those other things. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to have this myth and say Texas isn't even an SEC team. They're really a Big 12 team. We are absolutely not a Big 12 team. We have been building to be an SEC team. That is why the last year in the Big 12, we dominated like we did, because our team was already bigger, stronger, and faster. So that is the truth, and you can take it and leave it, but I'm just telling you that is another myth and another lie that you have told yourself. So while I know Texas is going to be hot coming into this season, I know the spring ball Texas is going to be hot. I know everyone's going to want to talk about Arch Manning. I know everyone's going to want to talk about every single thing we have going on, and they're going to want to pick and prod and this and that. Have fun. I am here to enjoy the ride. I am here to love on my Texas team, and I am here to dispel the myths. I am 100% going to be honest about what I'm seeing in this Texas team. That is just how I roll. That is how I do things. And you will find this whole offseason that I don't care what big media is saying. I don't care what is going on. I am going to trust my gut, my eye test, and how I feel. But I will not sit back as people talk about my Texas Longhorn football team when they actually don't know much about this Texas Longhorn team, except for what they can Google and except for what makes them feel good. I will get off this soapbox and I will end this video here. I will see you in my next video.